Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at Schüssler's tissue salts.
Yeah,
You might know them as biochemic or cell salts.
that's right.
And we've got a ton of sources on this.
We do.
We've got like old books, modern websites, even some like handwritten notes,
Mhm.
all about these little remedies.
It's amazing what you can find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today our mission is to figure out how these salts work,
Okay.
what they can do, and how people use them.
Sounds good. I think it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
And it all starts with this idea that our bodies need 12 essential minerals to function,
Right.
right down to the cellular level.
Okay.
Schüssler, the doctor who developed this system back in the 1800s, believed that when those minerals get out of balance, that's when we get sick.
So it's like a foundation for health, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're missing a brick or two,
Mm.
the whole structure starts to weaken.
That's a great analogy. And what's really interesting is that these tissue salts aren't big doses of minerals. They're actually prepared in homeopathic 6x potencies.
Okay, now I need a little refresher.
Right.
6x potency, what does that actually mean?
So in homeopathy, the higher the number, the more diluted the substance.
Right.
And it's not just diluted with water.
Oh,
It's also shaken in a very specific way, which is
Understood.
called succussion.
okay.
And that's thought to kind of release the energetic properties of the substance.
So even though there's a really tiny amount of the actual mineral in there,
Yes.
it's like the energetic imprint that's doing the work.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And the idea is that that little energetic nudge helps your cells absorb more of that mineral from the food you're already eating.
So you're not just taking like a giant dose of a mineral, you're kind of just nudging your body in the right direction.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like a gentle reminder, hey, you need more of this.
I like that.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's still drawing from the minerals from your diet, so it's a more natural approach.
Mm.
And that's why it's so gentle and safe to use, even alongside other medications.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Good.
Tell me about these 12 wonder minerals.
Oh, okay.
Where do we even begin?
Well, each one is associated with specific functions in the body,
Okay.
and they have really interesting traditional uses.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, let's start with calc floor.
Okay.
It's all about elasticity and strength in tissues like skin, ligaments, even blood vessels.
So someone with varicose veins or maybe really dry skin
Exactly.
could benefit from calc floor.
Yeah, and there's this interesting observation that people who need calc floor often find that their symptoms are better with warmth.
Like a hot bath or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the warmth helps those tissues relax and become more pliable.
Okay, so we've got elasticity covered.
Yes.
What about bone health?
Bone health, that's where calvus comes in.
Okay.
Key player in building strong bones and teeth, but it's also involved in digestion, even things like anemia.
So if you're not absorbing nutrients properly from your food,
Right.
it can lead to other problems,
Exactly.
including weak bones.
Exactly.
It's interesting.
And just like calc floor,
Ah.
there's a connection to temperature.
Okay.
People who need calc salts often feel better with rest and warmth.
It's amazing how these little mineral imbalances can affect the whole body.
I know.
Okay, so we've got elasticity, bones.
Yeah.
What about skin issues?
Skin issues, that's where we go to calc sulf.
Okay.
Calc sulf is all about cleansing and detoxification,
Uh-huh.
particularly in the skin and the lymphatic system.
Okay.
So think skin conditions like acne,
Right.
slow healing wounds, or even like those stubborn yellow discharges.
So it kind of like helps clear out all the gunk
Exactly.
that's causing those issues.
You got it.
Okay.
And here's a really curious one.
Okay.
People who benefit from calc sulf often find that their symptoms improve in dry air.
Really? So like humidity would make it worse.
Yeah, it's like the moisture kind of exacerbates the problem.
Interesting how these little environmental factors can play a role.
I know.
Okay, so we've covered 3 salts so far.
We have.
But I'm guessing things can get pretty intense when there's like acute inflammation going on in the body.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's where we bring out the big guns.
Okay.
Ferrum fuss.
Thermfust.
Yes.
Okay.
Think of it as like the first aid salt because
Mhm.
it's often used at the very beginning of inflammatory conditions
Right.
like colds, fevers, even injuries.
So like nipping that inflammation in the bud before it gets out of control.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, when that initial inflammation starts to kind of evolve into congestion,
Okay.
you know, that stuffy nose, swollen glands feeling,
Right.
there's another salt that can help, Kalimer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So ferrum fuss is like the initial response,
Yeah.
and then Kalimer steps in when things get a bit stickier.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm curious though, what about when it's more of an internal congestion,
Yes.
like digestive upset?
Kali myrrh can help with that too. It's all about supporting healthy mucous membranes throughout the whole body.
Okay.
And another interesting thing about Kali myrrh is that cold applications and rest often help.
So you're kind of just giving your body what it needs to clear it out.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yep.
We've covered a lot of physical stuff so far.
We have.
But what about when the imbalance is more mental or emotional,
Yes.
like stress and anxiety?
That's where Kali phos comes into play.
Okay.
This one is deeply connected to the nervous system and often used for things like anxiety, insomnia, exhaustion, even depression.
Wow. So it's like a little mood stabilizer.
It really is quite remarkable.
Yeah, I know so many people who could benefit from that.
I know, me too.
Okay.
And similar to calc phos, warmth and rest often make a big difference for people who need Kali phos.
It's like giving your nervous system a little TLC.
Exactly.
I love this.
It's pretty fascinating.
This is so fascinating.
I-
But before we get too carried away,
Okay.
I think we need to pause here and let our listeners absorb all this amazing information.
Right.
When we come back, we'll delve into the remaining 6 tissue salts and explore those intriguing combinations.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back.
Okay. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've still got a lot to cover in the world of tissue salts. Ready to keep going?
Absolutely. I'm ready to hear about the rest of these essential minerals.
Okay, great.
So last we left off, we were talking about Kali phos for stress and the nervous system.
We were.
So what comes next?
Well, let's shift gears and talk about Kali sulf.
Kali sulf.
This one's a bit different.
Okay.
It's all about those conditions where things are just too dry.
Okay.
Think dry, flaky skin, dandruff, or even those coughs where you just can't seem to clear the phlegm.
So it's like it helps loosen things up and get them moving?
Exactly.
Okay.
And another interesting thing about Kali sulf
Uh-huh.
is that people who need it often feel worse in damp, humid weather.
So like their best friend is a dry, sunny day.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's amazing how all these salts are connected to the elements.
I know.
Speaking of elements, I know a lot of people who swear by Epsom salt baths for muscle cramps.
Yes.
Is there a tissue salt for that?
You bet. That's where magphos comes in.
Magvos.
Yep. Think muscle cramps, spasms, twitches, even those tension headaches that feel like a band around your head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a natural muscle relaxer.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the connection with the Epsom salts?
Well, Epsom salts are actually magnesium sulfate,
Right.
and magphos is magnesium phosphate.
Okay.
So they both contain magnesium, which is a key mineral for muscle function.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Just a different form of magnesium, more targeted.
exactly.
Didn't I read somewhere that, like, applying firm pressure can help relieve magphos symptoms?
Yes, that's a common observation.
Really?
People often find that firm massage or even just holding the cramping muscle can provide relief. And of course, warmth is always a good friend.
Right, like a heating pad or something.
Exactly.
It's so interesting how all these little details can make a
I
difference.
know, it's fascinating.
Okay, we're making good progress here.
We are.
What's next on our tissue salt tour?
Okay, let's move on to the nat salts.
The nat salts.
Yes.
Okay.
First up is nat myrrh,
That myrrh.
and this one is all about fluid balance.
Okay.
Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but it can be helpful for both dryness and water retention.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How can one salt address both of those extremes?
It all comes down to how nat myrrh helps regulate the movement of water in and out of our cells.
Oh, okay.
Think of it like a gatekeeper,
Okay.
making sure the right amount of fluid is going to the right places.
So if that gatekeeper isn't working properly, you could end up with too much water or not enough water where you need it.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's fascinating because nat myrrh is also associated with emotional states like grief, sadness, even a feeling of isolation.
Oh, wow. So it's like those emotions are kind of locking up that flow.
It's like your body is mirroring those feelings of being stuck and holding on.
That's so interesting.
Yeah,
I've also heard that nat myrrh can be helpful for allergies.
it can.
Is there a connection there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Allergies often involve excess mucus production,
Right.
which is essentially a fluid imbalance,
Right.
and nat myrrh can help regulate that.
So it's really a multifaceted salt.
It really is.
What about natmus?
Natphos.
What's its specialty?
Natphos is the acid neutralizer.
Okay.
Think heartburn, indigestion, that sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
It helps balance the pH levels in the body,
Right.
and it's especially important for digestion.
So if you're eating a lot of acidic foods,
Yes,
natphos could be a good one to have on hand.
exactly. And natphos is also connected to rheumatism and joint pain, which are often associated with an overly acidic system as well.
Oh, interesting. It's amazing how all these seemingly unrelated symptoms can just stem from one mineral
I
imbalance.
know, it's incredible.
All right, we're down to our last one.
Okay.
What can you tell me about Natsulf?
Natsulf is a detox powerhouse,
Okay.
particularly for the liver.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about helping the body eliminate waste products and excess fluids.
So like constipation, bloating, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Or even that feeling of being just weighed down and heavy.
Right, like it helps clear out the cobwebs,
Yeah.
physically and mentally.
You got it.
Okay.
And like some of the other salts we've discussed,
Uh-huh.
Natsulf has a connection to the weather.
Oh, really?
People who need it often feel worse in damp, chilly conditions
Okay.
and thrive in warm, dry climates.
So a trip to the desert might be just what the doctor ordered.
It certainly wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Okay, we made it through all 12 of the basic tissue salts.
I know. It's amazing how each one has its own unique personality and application.
It is. It's fascinating.
But I'm curious, didn't you mention something about combination remedies?
I did.
Like they're even more powerful than using just one.
You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Combinations are where things get really interesting.
Okay.
They're specifically formulated to address specific groups of symptoms or conditions.
Okay, I like that.
For example, let's talk about combination A,
Combination A.
which is often used for pain relief and relaxation.
Okay, tell me more. What kind of pain are we talking about?
Well, combination A is a blend of ferrimphos, coliphos, and magphos.
Okay.
So it's targeting those aches, pains, and spasms that can be caused by inflammation, tension, and mineral deficiencies.
Uh-huh.
It can be really helpful for things like headaches, muscle cramps, insomnia, even sciatica.
Wow, so it's like a triple threat against pain.
It really is.
What other combinations are out there?
Well, let's say you're dealing with skin problems,
Yeah.
acne, eczema, dry skin, that sort of thing.
Right.
Combination D could be a great option.
I agree. What's in that one?
It combines Kali-Mur, Kali-Sulf, Calc-Sulf, and Cilicia.
Okay.
So it's addressing those issues of dryness, inflammation, detoxification, and skin cell regeneration.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach to skin health.
Exactly.
I like.
And it's not just about addressing the symptoms on the surface.
Right.
It's about supporting the body's natural healing process from the inside out.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just slapping on a cream or taking a pill. It's really getting down to what's going on.
Exactly.
Are there any other combinations you want to highlight?
Well, for anyone out there struggling with allergies, combination H might be a lifesaver.
Okay.
It combines Magphos, Nat-Mur, and Cilicia to help relieve those symptoms of congestion, sneezing, itchy eyes.
So especially helpful during allergy season
Yes,
when
exactly.
the pollen's flying around.
Exactly.
Are there specific combinations for women's health issues?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Combination N is designed to support women through their menstrual cycle.
Oh, nice.
It's a blend of calciphos, coliphos, Kali-Mur, and magphos. Okay.
So it addresses those common complaints like cramps, headaches, mood swings, and fatigue.
It's like a care package for your period.
It really is.
I love these combinations. It's like having a whole arsenal of natural remedies.
I know.
But are there any other tissue salts beyond these 12 and all the combinations?
You're right. We've only just scratched the surface here.
Yeah.
There are actually 15 additional tissue salts that were discovered after Dr. Schüssler's time.
Oh, wow. Tell me more.
Okay, well, one interesting one is potassium arsenite.
Potassium arsenite. Okay.
It's often used for skin conditions, but it can also be helpful for boosting vitality
Okay.
and even easing menstrual discomfort.
Wow. So it works on like physical and energetic levels.
It does. It's quite a versatile salt.
That's amazing. What else is there?
Another intriguing one is copper arsenite.
Okay.
It's often used for digestive and kidney issues,
Mm-hmm.
particularly those related to heavy metal toxicity.
Wow. So it's like a gentle detoxifier for heavy metals.
It really is quite remarkable. These additional salts sound powerful.
They certainly have their unique applications.
Okay.
But even with all these different salts and combinations, there's still more to this story.
Right.
Did you want to talk about how to actually use these tissue salts?
Yeah.
And the fascinating concept of facial diagnosis.
You bet.
Okay.
I'm definitely intrigued by that.
Okay, good.
But I think our listeners could use a moment to digest all this amazing information.
Right.
So when we come back, we'll delve into the practical side of tissue salts, including how to use them and that mind-blowing facial diagnosis technique.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been on quite a journey exploring the world of Schüssler's tissue salts, from their history and philosophy to those 12 foundational minerals and all those fascinating combinations.
Yeah, it's amazing how much there is to learn.
I know. But before we wrap things up, I'm really curious to hear more about the practical side of tissue salts. Like, how do you actually use them? What's the dosage like?
Well, the most common way to take tissue salts is in tablet form.
Okay.
You typically let a few tablets dissolve slowly in your mouth a few times a day.
So no swallowing pills whole with this?
Nope. The idea is to let those minerals absorb directly through the mucous membranes in your mouth.
Oh, interesting.
So it kind of bypasses the digestive system and allows for quicker absorption.
That makes sense. Are there any alternatives for people who can't tolerate lactose or who just don't like that tablet taste?
Oh, absolutely. Tissue salts are also available in liquid form and as tiny pellets called globuli.
Globuli.
Yeah, those are great options for people with lactose sensitivities or for young children.
I bet those would be a lot easier to give to kids.
Yeah.
Are there any other interesting ways to use tissue salts?
Well, there's this method called the hot drink method, which is particularly effective for magvos.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you're dealing with muscle cramps, you basically dissolve the tablets in a small amount of hot water and sip it slowly.
So it's like a soothing, mineral-rich tea. I bet that feels amazing on sore muscles. Now, I can't let us finish this deep dive without talking about facial diagnosis. It's just so intriguing.
I agree. It's really a fascinating aspect of this whole system.
Yeah.
And it's not as woo-woo as it might sound at first. It's based on the idea that your face is like a mirror reflecting your internal health.
Okay, so tell me, how does it actually work? What are you looking for?
Well, trained practitioners, they look for specific signs like skin color, texture, lines, wrinkles, even the shape of your features.
Wow.
All those subtle clues can point towards potential mineral deficiencies.
So it's like your face is a roadmap to what's happening inside.
Pretty much.
Can you give me some examples? Like, what would a calc floor deficiency look like on someone's face?
One of the classic signs is the presence of, like, square-shaped lines or folds around the eyes. You might also see cracks in the lips, a tendency for the skin to lose elasticity.
So those fine lines and wrinkles might be more than just signs of aging. They could actually be telling us something about our mineral balance.
Exactly. And it's not just about aesthetics. Those signs could be indicators of deeper imbalances that need to be addressed.
What about Kali Murr? What kind of facial cues are associated with that one?
With Kali Murr, you might see a milky or blue-white complexion, often accompanied by swollen glands, maybe some puffiness around the eyes and cheeks. It's that classic picture of congestion.
Interesting. So if you're constantly battling sinus issues or puffiness, it could be a sign that you need more Kali Murr.
It's definitely something to consider. Of course, facial diagnosis is just one piece of the puzzle. It's always best to consult with a qualified practitioner to get a personalized assessment.
Right, of course.
Okay, last one. What about silicea? What signs are associated with the deficiency in that one?
Okay.
Silicea deficiencies often show up as a shiny, almost varnished appearance to the skin,
Okay.
especially on the forehead. You might also see deep-set eyes or brittle nails.
Wow. It's incredible to think that these subtle signs could be our body's way of trying to communicate with us.
It really is. And the more we learn to listen to those subtle whispers, the better equipped we are to support our overall health and well-being.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Schüssler's tissue salts, what's the key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that our bodies have an incredible capacity for self-healing.
Yeah.
And sometimes all we need is a little nudge in the right direction. And tissue salts offer a gentle, natural way to support that process and restore balance from the inside out.
I could have said it better myself. Tissue salts are like these tiny whispers of healing. They work in harmony with our bodies to create a symphony of wellness. And as we part ways today, we'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. If our faces can reveal so much about our internal state, what other hidden languages might our bodies be speaking? Until next time, keep diving deep.